Good morning. So I'm really happy to be here in the morning with the agricultural vitiology, where the today's guest speaker Dakshinamurthy. Today we invite in the universities. Our vice chancellor is so kind enough to invite most of the external examiners for the in-person viva. So earlier the Corona period, we could not able to invite the people and to have face-to-face interactions and to learn each other. Many times we used to be in the online, but now the things are changed. So now we are really happy, sir, to have you here as an external examiner for thesis viva and also the guest lectures. So, and on behalf of Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, we welcome you for the guest lecture. So, another thing, our Vice Chancellor want to convey the message that every examiner visiting Tamil Nadu Agricultural Universities, they are very specialized in their own area of research. So, they have to be here for us to deliver the talk. So you have to be get benefited out of this his rich experience on a domain in a particular domain. So in that way, a series of guest lectures been arranged by the external examiner, and I request all the postgraduate students, masters, and doctoral students, please try to attend the every lectures which have been organized. Apart from that, the main campus, wherever the campus in which they are visiting, been in person, they are delivering the lecture, and other campuses also been connected through online. I also welcome all the online participants from our constituent colleges, those who are joined for this guest lecture and getting benefited from this lecture. So another thing, we also serious endowment lectures also been planned every weekend, I can say, every Friday afternoon, because we have so tight academic schedule from Monday to Friday. At least Friday afternoon, be relaxed and come over here, the PG Defense Call, and try to attend the endowment lectures. Because I expect that I always encourage the cross-disciplinary learning, because whenever you attend the lecture from other disciplines, related disciplines, you have the overall view on your research or interdisciplinary things will definitely will enhance your knowledge in the area, and you can think for novel area of research. Since you are in a postgraduate or doctoral students, nowadays you cannot work as an isolation. You cannot be sit in a smaller isolation group, or small domain knowledge is not at all enough, because cross-cutting technologies are needed. Every time the newer technologies are coming, which can be applied to any across all the agricultural disciplines. So those technology you have to learn means only way of getting information from the eminent speakers who have different domain knowledge. Then you can attend that. So this way, many Western universities, they learn cross-cutting experiences from the eminent speakers. So wherever you are, wherever the possible, whether the lecture has been organized in TNA Coimbatore campus or other campuses, we always connect through online also. And also most of the lectures being recorded through Microsoft YouTube Live also. So if some of you, in some of the unforeseen reasons, you cannot able to attend, please try to go to the other archived video lectures and get benefited. So this is why they're learning. I'm also many times, whenever a new concept came into the technology, then I am also looking on some of the lectures which are the Cornell or the Harvard University professors lecture we are getting. I am learning every day, so but it will give us a confidence on our subject. So when you attend the lectures or some, and also you can get confident in your subject area. So I know this much level. So I'm also on par with the level which the speakers are talking, and our knowledge level also will be very important. So this way, I expect every students in the postgraduate students get cross-disciplinary knowledge, and it will definitely help your career to get a newer publication, newer research projects you can work on them. And apart from that, today the director crop management could not be come over here because of some of the other issues, health issues. He cannot come, and the head of the department, meteorologist sir, is very kind enough to organize the lectures. I really thank the crop management director and the head of the department, agriculture meteorology, for supporting all the postgraduates initiatives which we are doing. And also this year we Vice Chancellor Madam is keen on giving fellowship for all the students, masters for PhD student. So I also request all the PG students and try to use the opportunity and try to work for the departments to strengthen your research program and also get with the high impact publications. Many times when the speakers deliver the lectures, after that I feel less interactions in many of the lectures. I hope these lectures you get more interaction. So asking the question is very important, because sometimes you may not you may not have clarity on the topics which speakers having the high level knowledge. Sometimes you may not understand. So please post the questions. Any speaker will never be offended, because they're very happy to answer whatever the questions you raised, and they will be, if I deliver some lecture, if I get 10 or 20 questions, I will be happiest person and is standing in the podium and deliver the lecture. So you feel free, because the group is your peer group and your classmates only there, your class teachers are there, your head of the departments are there. So just post as many questions as possible. If you have the online viewers also, I am asking them, try to put questions in the chat box and the speakers can able to answer the questions. So this way the lecture will be a more interactive, more lively when you ask more questions, and your questions sometime will clarify some of the doubts of your colleagues or your friends. They will make thought, okay, I could have been asked this question, so that will help us to learn the things. So this way I expect that at least end of this lecture, at least 5 to 10 questions for the speaker is very important. Definitely it will get a clarity on the topic which we are talking. So with this few introduction, I really thank the department, meteorology and the crop management, and also I thank Vice Chancellor for providing this kind of approval to go ahead with this kind of many of the guest lectures. I hope we'll enjoy this lecture. I thank one and all for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Beloved Dean, PG Studies, External Expert, Dr. Dakshinamurthy, and my dear colleagues from ACRC and the PG and PhD students in person as well as online. I feel privileged to stand before you. I join Dr. Senthil, Dean PGS, in welcoming all of you. Before I introduce our honorable speaker here, I must say a big thanks to our honorable Vice Chancellor. Why? Because this is never in the history of TNAU. All the PG and PhD students have been given with fellowship. I think you can give a big round of applause for that. That is even when I was speaking with our Dr. Dakshinamurthy in the morning regarding this, he really wondered. Not in any part of our country. This is the first time in the history of TNAU. I can say not only in the history of TNAU, the history of any SAU, planning for providing financial support for each and every student. Because when we were students, we could not get it unless you are a ICR student or some other private funded fellowship. This is impossible. So our honorable Vice Chancellor worked very hard to consult all the PA our PG Dean was helping to the maximum extent. You don't know what is the implications in that. If I am the PA, I should talk to my sponsor and get him convinced to have this diverted to the student. That is a big issue. You may not know that. So on your behalf, I sincerely thank our Vice Chancellor along with our Dr. Sendil, PG Dean, because this is the first time in our experience we see people are happy. So at the same time, when you get money from the government, you must be conscious. Your work should be very good. It should be a qualitative one. That is the expectation of our Vice Chancellor. Don't think that Vice Chancellor is planning to give you only money. At the same time, she is expecting high impact journal publications. Don't forget that. So kindly do that. That is my sincere advice to you. Secondly, I can proudly say that the Dean's office, PG Dean's office, we have been watching. Though Dr. Sendil, my close friend, is a director of CPMB, after taking additional charges, I was talking to him in the morning. Lot of problems, because this is the time wherein students are getting admitted. So many issues are there. He is tackling all those issues in a very nice manner with a smiling face. That is the requirement of an administrator in a Dean's cadre. So I really congratulate Dr. Dean for these things. I wish you to continue the same trend. Okay. So with this, I should not take much time. We have our speaker, very important speaker, formally and presently he is the colleague of our Honorable Vice Chancellor in modeling work. He has been coordinating with our Vice Chancellor in the renowned AGMIC program. His name, you all know that, Dakshinamurthy Kadiyala. Actually, KM Dakshinamurthy. Presently, he is the principal scientist in the Department of Agronomy, Angro, Acharya N.G. Rangarao Agriculture University, Guntur. If you see the undergraduation in the year 1996, he was graduated from Angro, Hyderabad. Then 1999, the same university, Angro, in agronomy. Then wonderful thing he did in the University of Florida, Gainesville, USA, PhD in soil and water science. Very important areas he has done. In that, simulation of agricultural and biological systems, computer simulation of crops, soil physics and nutrient management. Before I get this paper, I just saw in his profile in the net also, he did wonderful work based on his publications, especially the profit of the smallholder farms. How can we simulate based on the water use efficiency in sorghum chickpea, rice chickpea, so many systems. He has worked very good papers. Before I get this paper from my PG coordinator, I saw all his profile. Then regarding this employment, he started his career as a scientist in agronomy in Angro. At that time, he was interested in developing multi-scale adaptation strategies for climate change and development of decision aid tools, methods and data products. Then 2008 to 12, he was a graduate research assistant in University of Florida. At that time, he was conducting wet lab analysis. Then he was involved in graduate teaching also. From 2013 to 18, he was working as senior scientist in the subject of systems modeling at ICRISAT, International Crops Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics. At that time, his work was climate risk assessment. Very, very important. We also see in ACRC, every student is involved in projecting the future. He is the right person to get hold of further work. Climate risk assessment, dynamic modeling cropping systems, integrated assessment of crop climate change impacts. Then from 2019 to till now, he is the principal scientist agronomy in Agro. His research is on crops and cropping systems. Presently, you see his career's overview, dynamic modeling cropping systems, including crop, soil, climate, and management interactions, climate variability and climate change impacts on agricultural systems, conducting integrated assessments of effects of climate change on global and regional food production and security, analyzing adaptation options in rain-fed cropping systems, core competencies including agronomy and soil science, crop growth modeling, climate risk management, spatial analysis. See, it is a big profile. I can select a few one. He is a honorary member, that is Society Gamma Sigma Delta Honor Society of Agriculture, Florida chapter. Life member of Association of Agrometeorologists. Life member of Andhra Agricultural Journal. Life member of Association of Agronomists, Angra of India. He has been acting as journal reviewer in so many journals like leading journal, Agronomy Journal, Journal of Environmental Quality, Journal of Soil Science and Plant Nutrition, then Journal of Agrometeorology, Field Crops Research, Environmental Science and Pollution Research, Agricultural Water Management, Climate Services, Archives of Agronomy and Soil Science, Paddy and Water Environment, Journal Agricultural Systems, Climate Change, Journal of Earth System Science, Journal of Integrative Agriculture. He has been thesis evaluator for so many institutes like TNAU. He is a regular visitor of TNAU, IIT, Chennai, Madras, Queensland University of Technology, Australia, then International Institute of Information Technology, Hyderabad. These professional awards and fellowships obtained by Dr. Dakshinamurthy is during 2018, ICRISAT Science Award for Outstanding Scientific Article in High Impact Journal. Our VC has been insisting that. Then 2018, ICRISAT Science Award for Outstanding Partnership Award. In 2016, ICRISAT Science Award for Resource Mobilization Award as a PA, new donor, 2016. During the year 2015, ICRISAT Science Award, continuously ICRISAT Science Award he has got for outstanding scientific article in high impact journal. In 2015, certification of appreciation from CSIRO for participation and research contribution in ACIAR CSIRO funded adaptation to climate change in Asia project. Then in 2011, best presentation award in the same journal, international annual meetings during October 15 to 19 at Texas, USA. 2011, Graduate Student Council, University of Florida, travel grant. 2011, Institute of Food and Agriculture Sciences, University of Florida, travel grant. 2008, Graduate Research Assistantship in the University of Florida. 2005, Best Poster Award in International Symposium on Rice, conducted at Angra. In the earlier 1999, he cleared the NET. So, student supervision, right from 2015 to 2022, many MSc and PhD students. He is a great asset, not only for Angra, for also TNAU to cope up with that. So, with this, I thank one and all in introducing our honorable speaker for this. Thank you very much. May I now request our speaker to start the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So First of all, I really feel privileged and honored to be here on this day to present whatever research work I have done so far. For this, I should really thank your Agroclimate Research Center head, Ramanathan sir, and also your Dean PG, Senthil sir. So because they are the people behind, and so as your PG Dean said, you please ask whenever you have any doubt, because I'm not the person who are going to grade you. So no, don't worry about your OGPA or GPA. So whatever you ask, I will try to answer. If you ask only, then I will get encouragement to talk to you. Okay. Hello. Yeah. It's fine. No, I think it's Do you have a like collar mic? Yeah, that's also fine. Yeah, this fine. This fine, I think. Yeah. Okay, anyhow, we will start with this. When the color mic is ready, I may move to that one. Okay, today I would like to discuss with you. It's not like a one-way traffic, so you have to ask me some questions, and we will discuss. This is not a presentation kind of thing. I will present, but it has to come from you. So we need to discuss many things. If you don't understand one other slide, you can stop me at any time, so that we can discuss. I'm little bit a complicated kind of crop simulation model work I'm trying to deal with you today. So let us see how it goes. Okay. Okay. You people, everyone knows agriculture is a high risk activity. I think you will agree with me, right? So there are many risks involved in agriculture, starting from the production point of view and the harvest point of view, and even market and also ecological risk. Right now, not much worried. Farmers are not much about ecological risk, but as a scientist and the policy makers, we need to worry about ecological risk also. So production risk, weather, labor, knowledge, quality inputs. So these are the main issues. Climate change. So I think you have seen how many people know IPCC. Have you ever heard about IPCC, AR6, AR5? So there are some people are assessing how the future climate going to be in coming years. So recent release is IPCC AR6. They're projecting that there is definitely a 1.5 to even up to 3 to 4 degrees centigrade increase in temperature going to happen. So we are all agree, all the countries agreed in the Paris Agreement that we will reduce the temperature increase below 1.5 degree. There is some agreement happen. No? So it's very difficult to honor that agreement, because unless until if you are going to take a strict actions, there will not be any reduction in the temperature increase. So that is the situation. So a lot of risk involved in climate change, and labor constraint. Mechanization is the solution, but where is the funding is a constraint. So we agree that mechanization is the main important thing, but the funding, likewise knowledge. Still, agriculture extension systems, there's a rapid change happened, that ICC tools have come, but still the right information is not reaching. Quality input, access to credit. These are comes under production risk. So post-harvest risk, storage again still issue. I think you know about the perishables especially. And then market risk. Still farmers are clueless about how the market prices are behaving. Sometimes you see cotton is getting higher price, the same or next year, cotton going to get less price. So why? What's happening? Those information still lacking. And another thing is ecological risks. Limited land, limited water. So we can use the simulation models, our agriculture knowledge to address some of these risks. So we are going to deal with this, how to use a crop simulation model to work in different scales. how we can use the crop models at the farmers level or a field level or a regional level or a global level. That we are going to three scales. One is field level, how we can use crop simulation models. Some one or two examples I will tell you, and how we will do in a regional scale and a global scale. So how many people, anyone knows about crop simulation models? Bearing Agroclimate Research Center people, remaining discipline people. So they know, they have some idea what the simulation means. Simulation means something you are simulating the real time. So we are all using simulations nowadays. So many simulations everywhere we are using. So this is called crop simulation models, nothing but a computer experiment. We will be conducting a field experiment in a computer and see what happens. That is nothing, simple words, crop simulation models. They're mostly designed to allow users to adapt, evaluate models for their own condition, because the models were developed elsewhere. So you want to use those models in your location, you can do that. And then you can use your own data in a standard format. And you can, suppose, for example, you want to study in your location, use that data, but there are specific standards. You have to input the data in those things only, like your Word or PowerPoint. So you have to use some standards, no? And then they are provide insights into what if questions. This is very important. What if? Because you are all masters and PhD students, you are also doing the same questions, no? So what if I apply 90 kg of nitrogen to rice or a cotton, what happens? That is your question. Generally, in your research questions, you will frame a research question before starting your synopsis or your PhD work. So you will start a research question. Same thing you can ask the computer also. But the problem with the field is, so once you have started asking questions, suppose for example 90 kg you applied, but if you want to ask a question 120 kg nitrogen, because you already started your research work, you cannot add one more plot, no? Right? So after 30 days, you are thinking that suppose what happens if I apply 120 kg nitrogen. Those kind of things we can use these kind of computers. Like suppose for example, instead of giving 3 irrigation, what happens if I give 4 irrigation or 5 irrigation? 30 days 1 irrigation, 60 days 1. Like that, you can play a number of things in a computer using these crop simulation models. And then it also assists the researchers like you to understand response and interaction. Suppose one side you are applying nitrogen, one side you are giving irrigation. What is the interaction? When the nitrogen efficiency is more, whether 3 irrigation nitrogen efficiency is more or a 4 irrigation, we don't know. That we can use those data and then study. And then we can even do a yield gap analysis. Suppose why the rice yields in Coimbatore is less than Madurai, something like that. So we can understand why. And then water and irrigation management, just I explained you, soil fertility management, and very important thing, don't think the crop models only for climatologists or agro-climatologists. This is for everyone, even for plant breeders. G into E interactions, you know, virtual cultivars. So virtual cultivars, how many breeders are there here? Maybe raise your hand. Breeding department. Anyone? Okay. So breeders, see what they will do. They will breed for a particular location. Suppose a breeder want to work on a drought tolerance, and another breeder want to work on a heat tolerance. Which one will work for Coimbatore? Any idea? We don't know. So in models, we can do a virtual cultivar. Means we can create a cultivar which is having drought tolerance. Like for example, we can increase the root length in a model artificially. So we can increase the root length or temperature tolerance and see whether yield is increasing or not. Like that. So it will give an idea to the breeders whether what kind of cultivar will work. So application. If you come to application of models, climate variability and risk management, and then climate change impacts, soil carbon sequestration. So many soil scientists, agronomists, now everybody is working on carbon credits. So we need to sequester carbon in your field. Whether which practices will sequester more carbon in the field, we don't know, because it has to run for 20, 30 years. So field experiment, we cannot conduct 20, 30 years and get the results. So we can use these models to see whether the carbon is accumulated or not. Or early warning we can give whether how the yield going to be this year, how the climate will be this year, and then whether yields will be increasing or decreasing, and risk insurance. So we can do a rainfall risk insurance using these models. Okay. So whatever may be the methodology or whatever may be the thing, I always follow this methodology. That is called structural. You can clearly see. Yeah, somebody. I think you can.
என்ன ரீசன் கேட்கிறேன் நடக்காதுன்னா ஏன் ரீசன் கேட்கிறேன் கொஞ்சம் டென்ஷன் மேடம் போகணும் இன்னொரு ரவுண்டு போகலாம் இன்னொரு ரவுண்டு போகலாம் இருக்கு இன்னொரு 4-5 ப்ரோக்ராம் சென்னை 2-3 மேடம் வச்சு எல்லாத்தையும் கொண்டு வர அப்படி கூட பண்ணலாம்.
Hello.
Okay now. Okay, coming back. I think it's also you can switch on. Okay, I will always emphasize following this structural approach. This I will call it as a structural approach. What this means? So now you all fit into different boxes. Like see, there are 3 different boxes here. So there are many boxes like physiologists are there, agronomists are there, geneticists are there, breeders are there. They will be working on independently on climate stress. So like physiologists will also see what happens to the climate change in their way. Like they will be measuring some maybe daily growth rate or maybe crop growth rate. And then genetical people, what they will do, all the breeders, they will try to breed a variety which can withstand the climate change impacts. So they will work independently. And then crop simulation model people who are on Agroclimate Research Center, they will work on changing how the climate change impact using historical data or maybe future climate data. They will see what happening to the yield. Similarly, economics, they will work on their own and then they will use some models and see whether future climate change has an impact on the prices or cost of cultivation. But they're all working separately. Now, what we have to do is we need to work, like we have to get information from physiology and agronomy, put it into the crop simulation model, and then give that information to the economic modeling people so that we can get not only yield, farm income, and household cash flows. That means my idea is, so we need to work all together so that we can get output not only on yield. See, nobody is worried about yield nowadays. They are more interested in, all the farmers are more interested in economics. So they want more income. Yield is also important, but ultimate thing is more income. So that's why we have to use this kind of structural approach. Now, I will come and explain you how these crop models can be used at different scales. Now coming to the field scale. Field scale means plot scale, I will say. So at a farmer level. Suppose, for example, I will give an example of Anantapur. Anantapur is a very drought affected place or district in Andhra Pradesh. It is called the Rayalaseema region, near to the Rayalaseema, maybe Bangalore or something. So in Anantapur, now just see, this is the rainfall situation in Anantapur. This is rainfall probability exceedance map. So this map clearly says that, so these are the probability. See how to read this graph. So here 100, that means we are 100% sure that that Kharif rainfall would be something like around 150, 100% sure. That's how you will see the map. So we are only 0% or maybe 5% sure that the rainfall will be more than 850 or 860. That means out of 100 years, 5 years, we are going to get 800 above rainfall. And then we are very sure that almost all years we will get minimum of 150. So we will go with the 50% or more than 50%. That means 300 mm. Okay, that is our, based on this long-term rainfall analysis. Now we are sure that 300 mm, the 50% sure that 300 mm will definitely will come. So what we did is we have taken years, those years where the rainfall is more than 300 mm. And then we plotted weekly data. You can clearly see from this data, dry spells. This is a dry spell. So 0 rainfall. Only few locations, few years, right? So more than 3 weeks of dry spell is only few years. That means groundnut is a major crop grown in that. So groundnut, we believe that it can withstand maximum of 3 weeks. No rain period, maximum. That's why we plotted like this. So we use all the data, and now we found that whenever the rainfall is more than 300, this is historical data. So there will not be much impact on the dry spells. But if you have information that whenever rainfall is less than 300 mm, there are lot many years. The probability of getting dry spells is much higher, right? With this data analytics, I'm presenting only 1 or 2 data. So if you do this kind of data analytics, we are very sure that if somebody says, come and says to you before the start of the groundnut season, this year going to be rainfall going to be less than 300 mm, whether you will encourage to go for groundnut or not. No. Simple answer is no, because based on the historical data, with high probability, whenever the rainfall is less than 300, we will not go groundnut. That is clear now. So that kind of thing. Next. Now we are using crop simulation models. Now one thing is clear that whenever the rainfall is less than 300 mm, we will not encourage for groundnut. Now coming to the El Nino La Nina effect on crop productivity in Anantapur. So we have used number of simulation models, again simulation models for number of years, and run that. We found that whenever somebody says in the beginning of the season, this year going to be a La Nina, then it is favorable for peanut and medium duration P and P intercrop. So whenever somebody says this year more than 300 mm rainfall and then La Nina year, immediately we can tell the farmer that go for groundnut and P and P intercrop. That is one part of climate risk assessment. So like we have used long-term data again, models, you can clearly see how the yields are changing all year, El Nino year, La Nina year. Here the La Nina, this is called box plot. The La Nina year, we have a more yield of P and P compared to other years. That is what the crop modeling output. So we got the information from the climate analytics and the crop models. Now next up is, so we use another model called EPSIM and run the P and groundnut simulation independently. Now this first graph shows crop failure and the second graph is possibility of getting high yields or good yields. So crop failure, whenever P is shown beyond August, what's happening? See here. P, whether yields are increasing or decreasing, or crop failure is high or low? High. So here, this is a crop failure percentage probability, and then this is a crop failure. So P high failure is more when you grow August P. But on the same contrary, groundnut crop failure chance is only 10%, right? So P crop failure is more when you grow beyond August. and then groundnut yields will be high. Now the question, what to do? Because we are asking them to go for intercrop. So one crop is growing well, other crop is not getting good yields. So we need to come and identify a crossover, and then maybe somewhere here, July 2nd week or 3rd week, we can, when you want to go for intercrop, you have to use July is the best option, like that. If you want to go only sole crop, then you suggest to grow groundnut if you want to get sole crop, something around somewhere. A groundnut will be good here, July. Right? Here, yields also very high. Risk of getting good yields are high. Risk of crop failure is also low. You understood this slide? So likewise, so if you have all the information, crop modeling simulations, we have to give information to the farmers. Now, farmers, nobody is taking your simple information that apply 50 kg nitrogen, recommend dose of nitrogen, and get good yields. Nobody is interested in that kind of information, because all you have a lot of books or you are publishing, lot of extension activity you are doing. So they want some specific contextual, location specific information. So those kind of information we can get it by doing this kind of analysis. So some master student can take such kind of studies and then come up with some recommendation. Which area, which crop, when to sow, what to do. All kind of information farmers are nowadays asking. So what we have done is, using that information, we developed a decision tree. See, suppose SCF means seasonal climate forecast. So, or long range forecast. IMD will give you a forecast with some probability. I will not say 100% success, but with some probability during the beginning of the season, they will give you some information. And there are several other agencies also which are providing seasonal climate forecast. So, if you can get some information during that time, if the rainfall is more than 350 mm, and rainfall is above normal, if somebody says above normal, qualitative, there are some forecasts they're saying qualitative, some forecasts they're giving quantitative. So if its forecast is more than 350 mm and above normal rainfall, then we can directly tell the farmer, you go for pigeon groundnut this year. So before the start of the year, so we should tell before the start of the year what crops he has to grow, or how to distribute his total area into different crops. So if somebody says below normal rainfall, and also over on top on that El Nino is the problem, then we will say no. So don't go groundnut, prepare for planting a mix of crops or reduce the groundnut area. Clear? This one, this decision tree approach, we can do say such kind of decision tree studies for all the crops, all the locations. Suppose if you have a long-term climate data and then modeling skills, we can come up with this kind of decision trees. Okay, now you told the farmer which crop to take. That is your business is done. Next one is, you will ask when you want me to sow. Okay, that's the problem. Groundnut, all the crops. Why groundnut is the main problem? You cannot miss the season. If he misses, what happens? So if you want to resow, what is the issue? Groundnut. So farmer can easily resow, no? What is the problem? Seed. Excellent. Seed. Seed is very costly. Groundnut seed requirement, you know, what is the seed rate for groundnut per acre, or maybe how much? Something like that much. So highest cost for groundnut is the seed. So if he lost his seed, means is gone. So that's why this kind of decision study, we need to send the farmers all the information, whatever is possible. So now we have decided when to grow, which crop to grow. Now when to plant. So see, this is what decision tree we use. Maybe I will give you a bigger one. Yeah. So what is all information is available. Only thing is we are organizing. What IMD will give you is next week rainfall. So I think you know medium range weather forecasting. IMD is issuing medium range weather forecasting. They will give you next week 5 days forecast. You already know what is the actually rainfall received. So you have last week rainfall information and future forecast. And another thing is IMD will give you a 2-week outlook also, qualitatively. So I think majority of people you have seen in IMD website, they will give you next week forecast and also 2-week outlook. Okay. So what we are suggesting is last week rainfall is greater than 10 mm. Next week forecast is also more than 10 mm. 2-week outlook is above normal. Then we will ask them to prepare the land and sow the land. And because this is The time is based on the crop models, and then rainfall is based on the IMD forecast. You understood? So now we are, once we have decided the crops, and then we are also telling them when to plant, right? And then we will be sending some kind of, there are a number of tools now ready, but only thing is information is lacking. So the out of tools are there. Several IT industries are coming to agriculture, but they're developing the tools. But only thing is information. Information is the missing. So here we can see automatically it will generate week number, last week rainfall, it will come here. Next week rainfall based on the forecast, and 2-week outlook, below normal or above normal. Now we can advise. We can advise the farmer what to do. Clear about this one? This is what we can do at the field scale. Okay, so this kind of some example I'm giving you. This is what we can do at the field level using some big data analytics and crop models. Okay, now we'll jump into region. Now we are given farmer. Now region. Region means for policy makers mostly. Region means you mostly work for the district administrative officers or Department of Agriculture people, all these things. Okay, now regional integrated assessment of climate change impact. This is a very prestigious project. The PA is your current Honorable Vice Chancellor is the PA of this project, and we also associated in this project. So this project funding came from DFID, UK, and also USDA, USA. So this is the core questions what you are asking. So you need to understand this. See, current climate. See now, this is the yield level now. See, the blue one is the current yields what you are getting now. Okay, because of climate change, so the yields are coming down. Okay, so now we in the current climate we are doing some adaptation so that we want to bring this yield level to this one. So three dots are there, no? You see circle. See, this is the current yield level, blue one, and then now because of climate change, the yields are coming down. So we have to do some adaptation option to bring that yield level. So this is for current climate. Okay, now. But what about the future? So future yield levels also increasing. This is not because of climate change, because of all you people. That means our researchers, because some technology, new varieties are coming, new fertilizer management studies are coming. That's why regularly yield levels are increasing. Now I think you remember 1960, what is the yield level? Now what is the yield level? This is all because of technology, right? So what people are doing now, how many people are working on climate change? Maybe at least ACRC, some people are working. So what they take the package of practice now and change the climate data and see what's happening. But do you think the 2050 same level of cultivation practice will be there? No. So only thing what you are changing now is only climate data and completing our research, right? I'm also doing same thing. You also may be doing, but there is some technology. Maybe the population may change, or the farmers' economics may change. Global prices will change. We need to consider those things also when you want to work climate change impacts in 2050. So that is why we are doing this. So the current yield is like this. In 2050, the yields will go up because of technology, not because of climate or anything, because of technology. Maybe bringing more area under irrigation. Maybe you will receive more rainfall and your Kaveri basin will be full, and then you will release the water and then you will get more yields. But again, there is a climate change, suppose. So the yields will be come down to here. Now we need to develop a future adaptation strategy to bring the yield level to green. May not be black, but at least bring green. So understood? Two systems, current system and future system. So that's why you need to do your research. But the big question is how the future system in 2050 will be. So we don't know. In 2050, how the agriculture will be, nobody knows. But we will make some assumptions and then work on that. Okay. So I will tell you a small case study. Same thing, same methodology we have used for a fallow chickpea system. So this was done in Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh. Some study also, same repeated study was also done in Tamil Nadu in rice maize system in the same. So I'm presenting only Kurnool, but there is one more study in Tiruchi district done by Honorable Vice Chancellor on rice maize system. So I'm just telling the fallow chickpea, my study. So we have done this fallow chickpea, and this is the location in Andhra Pradesh here. So here, our study area. Okay. So what we have done? So what we have done is we have taken the already existing data available. So we have collected the household survey data, farmers data. So we got 351 sample households. So this is a satellite picture of chickpea growing areas in that district, exact location. So we picked the households which are there in the chickpea growing region only. Okay, these are the 351 samples. We have taken the data, and then we divided the district into two stratas. This area, very low rainfall area. This is high rainfall region. We have two separate regions. One is low rainfall region and high rainfall. So our adaptation strategy always location specific. We cannot put same adaptation for everywhere, right? Okay. And what we have done is, so like what I explained, just we only change the climate and run the simulation for the current climate. Only climate. I am not changing anything. No future system, nothing. So just want to see if suppose the future climate data exists now, what happens. So in that, if you see, I think you know there are total around 29 global circulation models are there. Each one is predicting differently. Some person will say future rainfall going to increase. Some person will say temperature will increase, but rainfall may not increase. Like that, they're saying. So it's all confusing. So we met some policymakers. What they're saying is we don't want all 29 GCMs. So it's all confusing. Come up with some strategy. What we have to do. So what we have done is we divided all the 29 GCMs into 4 quadrants. Okay. One is cool wet. That means cool wet means not like cool temperature. Among the GCM, which is little bit less increase in temperature. So like that, each quadrant we selected one GCM. That means cool wet means the GCM which is predicting more rainfall, little bit increase in temperature compared to now. Suppose, for example, if the average temperature is 30 degrees, it is predicting 30.5, something like that. And then cool dry. So cool dry means temperature little bit increase, but driest condition. And then hot wet and hot wet. This is the worst situation. High temperatures, driest condition. So this is called pessimistic scenario. That means very bad scenario. This is optimistic. Cool, wet. High rainfall means definitely useful. So we have simulated using the crop DSAT crop simulation model, and then we found that there is a 33% mean compared to 33% increase in a hot dry scenario, 12% decrease in yield. So hot dry scenario, chickpea yields are projected to decrease. Cool wet, positive impact. This is what we got it. Okay, temperatures are ranging from 0.5 to 3 degrees, and then rainfall is also increasing. This is what prediction. This is for current system. Okay, as of now. Now, not only yield, I told you earlier, we need to work on the economics also. Household statistics also very important. So when same temperature or same future climate exists now, what happens to the farmer? 68% farms are vulnerable. That means their net economic impact is negative here. Okay, and then per capita income is also reducing. Poverty will be increasing. Very simple points. So all the policy makers asking very simple point. So their net income will reduce, where their poverty will increase. If future climate exists now, that is the outcome of this slide. Now what we have done is, so this is I'm in the current climate only. So now if the same current climate exists now, what are the adaptation practices? So we discuss with the farmers and then different policy makers and come up with some adaptation practice. Short duration chickpea cultivar, high water use efficient traits, already one variety is available, or fertilizer cost reduction, mechanical harvesting, cultivation of new crop. This is a fallow chickpea. We are asking them to go foxtail millet followed by chickpea because they're keeping the land fallow. So we are trying whether they can go a foxtail millet instead of keeping land fallow. They have their own issues because in the fallow period, high rainfall, black soil, very difficult to enter into the field. But at least some areas, because this foxtail millet will come in 60 to 70 days, no? So maybe during month of early August or something other, they can go for a foxtail millet. This is what adaptation strategy we have prepared. So after adaptation strategy, so if they adapt, they can increase the yields. That is what the output. So even their net returns will increase. We assume that only 50% of the farmers will adapt. Okay. So overall, if they follow adaptation option, with adaptation, without adaptation, the poverty will reduce. So instead of poverty of 30%, it can reduce. Okay, now the big question comes, how your future climate going to be in 2050? Now we have done same thing what we are doing right now, simply changing the weather data, putting future climate data and running the models and getting some results. But the problem is the same 2050, how your agriculture going to be in 2050. So we don't have any knowledge, but we are trying to create how the 2050 look like. Okay. So we have used two options. One is RAP, representative agriculture pathway. That is called RAPS, means representative agriculture pathway. Suppose this is green Andhra Pradesh. That means one option is green Andhra Pradesh. That means very optimistic. And then RAP 5 is gray Andhra Pradesh. That means very pessimistic. That means in the 2050, lower research, because lack of money or lack of funding, nobody is going to invest on research in future. That is another assumption. No research investment and low adoption, and then inadequate infrastructure, low investment in health and education. Suppose if these things happen, that nobody are going to invest any money here, adoption of resource efficient technologies, inclusive growth, and investment on public health education skill development. Suppose, for example, in future, what happening? See, suppose, for example, we assume in the future, we discussed with, I think in TNAU only we conducted several meetings and called experts of different departments and asked them to rate what going to happen in 2050 based on their expert knowledge. So some people said farm size is going to increase. Do you agree with that? So in future, farm size is going to increase. No? So our expert said that 10% increase may happen because farmers will consolidate. Majority of youth are leaving agriculture, going to cities. In family, only one person will work on agriculture. There's a chance that consolidation may happen. That is what experts answered in future. And then they said household size. This, I think you will agree, decrease. Household size. So like that. So we asked off farm income. Off farm income will increase or decrease? Off farm means out of farm. Will increase or decrease? Increase. And then access to farmer credit will increase. That means banks will come and talk to farmers. This is all green road. That means good conditions. So, and then LCD subsidy. Slowly governments will remove subsidy. Slowly. 70% low. Slow, but disappear. That's what the people said. And then fertilizer subsidy also going to decrease. The fertilizer cost may increase. That money, whatever saved from fertilizer subsidy, they may invest on research and education. Okay, like that, fertilizer prices will increase. Irrigation efficiency will increase. More area under irrigation, and then all the lining of the canals. A lot of investments will going to happen. And then mechanization, crop fields are going to increase, and new cultivars will increase. Like that. This is all investments on research, and this is some people. So we ask different people to create a future system. Our idea is we want to create a future system. How in 2050 agriculture going to be? That is a question. And some people who are in gray, that means pessimistic, negative thinking. What they said is farm size decrease. Like you also told, some people farm size will decrease, and then household size increase. See, that means they want to increase household size so that remaining people can work on some other sector and overall income may increase. Like that. That is another thinking. And then like access to farmer credit, minimum support price, electricity subsidy, fertilizer subsidy, no change, micro subsidy will decrease. fertilizer, like that. So we ask number of questions to design a future system. That is our main idea. So now this is the overall. Now based on that, with climate change, what happens to the prices? The prices compared to with climate change going to increase. Okay. So this is another way of presenting socio-economic pathway, like same thing. So we will ask the arrows whether they are increasing or decreasing. Fertilizer subsidy in the green one, slight increase, but in gray one, drastic increase. So they're claiming still they want more fertilizer subsidy. So like that, policy, technology, crop yields, all these things. So we have done all this analysis and come up and saying that we have developed a future system. And then now we simulated the models using the future climate, but system is future system. That suppose, for example, now we are chickpea, you are getting 1500. In future system, based on the activity, yields will be 1700. Cost of cultivation will altogether change. Accordingly, we come up with this kind of solution. So now we feel that 47% negatively impacted by climate change in green condition. And then here 43% negatively impacted by climate change. But why these high prices? Why only 43%? You may ask. Because here in future system, prices will be more under, because there is no government involvement, no investment. So farmers can sell whatever, middleman, not for actual farmer, middleman plays a major role, and then they will take more prices. Obviously, they will get a more profit. But this 43% negatively impacted by only less means because of increase in prices, not because of other technology. So finally, if they follow adaptation option, 65% benefit from adaptation. Here, only 58% will benefit from the adaptation. So finally, what are the key messages? So key messages. So we have to provide that kind of messages. So only thing is the policy makers only want this kind of thing. First thing is climate. All climate models predicting warmer condition, no doubt, and then temperatures 50 to 0.5 to 3 degrees centigrade increase, and there is a rainfall also. People are predicting 6 to 40% increase. So what happens? An impact. So 62% farms could be vulnerable, and per capita income may decrease by 12%. 47% negatively impacted by climate change, and then in other gray condition, 43% negatively impacted. And adaptation. So definitely adaptation options are very much important. And then because following adaptation benefit more than 70% of the farm. So 65% benefited, and then here 58% benefited. So this is what the final messages based on the regional integrated assessment. So what we can tell the policymakers is definitely adaptation options are the must, but with a scientific study, not like we have simply said in 2050 this much going to happen, but we have also simulated the future system, and again we have used the climate change, and we have used the adaptation option. So that will give you a clear picture and how regional integrated assessment of climate change will be. Now finally, I will conclude with the at global scale. So now we have seen farmer level, and then regional assessment. Now finally, global assessment. Why we need a global assessment? Global assessment means because somebody moving there. I think my mouse is moving. Okay. Okay, the question is why we need a global scale simulation? Because to understand international prices or investment, suppose some donor want to invest in your university or in your state. So which area you suggest? So whether they have to invest on something like developing a drought tolerant variety, or they have to invest on a project or maybe building an irrigation activity. So we don't know. So for that, we need a global scale modeling. So what we have done in here also we use, because Ikrisat mandate crop is a groundnut, one of the mandate crop. So we always study on Ikrisat mandate crop. So here we use groundnut. So first what we have done is, so we mapped the groundnut in entire India. Okay, this is the groundnut growing regions in India. This is Anantapur district, what we have just now seen. Anantapur is mostly groundnut grown area. So this is the overall groundnut going. These all are food producing units. That means the river basin. So Tapti river basin, Indo-Gangetic basin, like that. So they are all river basin. Okay. So first what we have done is, we have done the crop type mapping. That means we identify where groundnut is grown. Next, using the spatial crop modeling, we simulated, this is the soil data we use, and then we simulated each grid, what will be the yields. And then we use economic model, which is called impact model, developed by International Food Policy Research Institute in US. Okay. So international model for policy analysis of agriculture, commodities and trade. That is impact mean. International model for policy analysis of agriculture, commodities and trade. This is a model. So it will use us. So using the socio-economic welfare impact on climate change and groundnut India. So if we are used not only climate model, the crop model, we also use economic model to understand all the socio-economic things around the climate change. Okay, so this impact model uses various assumptions on production, consumption, trade, and nutrition, so many things. So population growth, income growth, and future climate. So it's not only climate, we need to do all the socio-economic studies also when you want to do a global level modeling. So now, then we have simulated crop modeling using impact of climate change, using different GCMs. This is a yield level changes. So there are some areas where more than 25% yield reduction is observed. There is a yield increase in also observed in Gujarat, some areas like that. So this is what we simulated for entire India using a cluster computing facility, which is available at Ikrisat. So number of simulations, some lakhs of simulation we have done using the cluster computers. Now we can clearly see when you don't consider population, economics, other countries' growth, and all these things, this is the impact of climate change. So in Godavari zone, Indus zone, Krishna, Luni, and Tapti, this is the impact of climate change. But when you consider the market effects, that means population, income, and growth, the severity is reducing. See, that clearly shows if you work only on crop modeling, it will not work. We need to include economic models also. You need to give a place to population growth, income levels, all these things. Then only you can get comprehensive impact of climate change, right? So, and this will also give you some idea. So these are the baseline projection supply demand. So not only model, net trade in groundnut in India. See, this is the demand during 2010, and then this is the supply. So we have a surplus groundnut production in India, so we can export. But when you see 2050, so both supply and demand are same, because population is increasing, purchasing power is also increasing. So people are buying now, so they can afford to buy, and then so that's why the net trade. Earlier we are doing a lot of trade to other countries. Now it is coming down. This is all projections by impact model. So even if you can see change in the prices also, you can clearly see producer price of groundnut in India. Producer price means the farmer, whoever is producing the farmer. So the price will be increasing. Okay. So the price will be what farmer is getting will increase if you follow adaptation strategies. That is simple. Yield boost means we have developed a cultivar which is having high yielding characters. And then if you one critical irrigation, if there is some drought, if you can afford to give one critical irrigation, and if you can provide a good quality variety, there is a likely chances. Overall, this is based on the global. This is one. The groundnut prices are going to not prices actually. Groundnut deviation producer price. That means the farmer is going to get more price for his product. Okay, and then so world price. What happened to the world price? So world price will come down. So countries like India, where groundnut is grown in several lakh hectares, if they can adapt and follow climate change adaptations, definitely overall global prices also coming down. So what message you are giving to the donors? So we are telling them invest the money in developing infrastructure or developing research in India, especially like crops like groundnut. Overall, it has impact on a global level. That means global. Suppose, for example, in African countries, where Malawi or somewhere, where the groundnut area is less, if you invest more money on that, it may not impact much on the global level. Why in India? Because area is more and then more groundnut is grown. If we can do some adaptation studies, there is a likely chance that it has a very positive impact and the prices will reduce. That's what the message we are giving for the donors. We are not saying that not invest on Africa, but if you want to get a good result, invest in countries where the particular crop is grown in high area, like that. So these kind of some of the studies we can do and then use the simulation models. This is only not for the field level. So across the countries or across the continent also we can work. And this kind of studies nowadays will fetch you an high impact journal papers. So if you do some small, typical our agronomist, what they will do, spacing, fertilizer, right? So we all do, we even for our MSc students also will give spacing and fertilizer. What we will get? Is there any chance to get some good quality paper? You can see now journals, they're not at all agreeing. They're simply saying that if you use simple spacing and fertilizer studies, we don't want to publish like that. So I think I'm very happy if you have any questions. So,
thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. The beginning itself we have told you. You can ask some questions, please. Yeah.
A very good morning, sir. My name is Divya, and I'm a first-year MSc student in the Department of Environmental Sciences. So I've read about crop simulation models in a previous research article, and I wanted to ask, they had mentioned that the crop simulation models that are designed in temperate regions might not be suitable for tropical regions as well, when we are talking on a global aspect. So have there been any studies to improve this?
Yeah, that's a good question. See, that is why what we are doing. So just now in the first slide also presented, you can use those models in your location and validate, evaluate and revalidate. Okay, so suppose for example, you want to use a particular crop simulation model like a series rice or series maize. So what we will do is we will conduct a field experiment. So in your master study or 1 year or 2 year PhD study, you will conduct a field experiment. Now we will measure all the parameters in the field, and also same parameters we will put in the computer and run the model. So now suppose for example in your field experiment rice or something maize, it is giving 8 tons. Model is predicting 3 tons. Then it's awfully wrong, no? So we will do some finer adjustments in the model and see why it's predicting 3 tons, here 8 tons. So we will do a validation process. Our main target is here 8 tons means the model also should simulate at least 7.5 to 7.7 tons. Then that is for first year. So that is called calibration. So you will try to calibrate the model and run several times. Your main idea is you want to represent the field level, yield level. Okay. And next year, what we will do, we will evaluate. That means you are calibrated using the data. Next, you will use independent data. That means, suppose, for example, you have done a field experiment in Coimbatore and calibrated the model. Now you are happy that model simulations and field simulations are somewhat okay. Now the same model, you will go take it to Madurai, where data is available. You will run independently. So that means you will not use any data, whatever you use. Then if model also shows something like 7.6 or 7.7, then your model is successfully calibrated and validated. Using that model, now we can do a lot of application. Unless until it is calibrated, validated, we cannot use that model. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Dibakaran, Associate Professor, Agrobiology. One of your presentation, I have seen that the rainfall condition having a higher yield than that high rainfall area. That low rainfall having lesser reduction.
Yes. See, like already the good observation. Actually, the rainfall, the yield levels are less in initial conditions. So when you have a very good rainfall, when you have an adaptation strategy, then the yield response is more in rainfall condition. Already in irrigated area, already there is sufficient rainfall is there. So again, even if the climate change, there is some adaptation, one irrigation, if you give also, there is not much impact on the yields. That is the reason why the rainfall system has responded well.
Similarly, can you throw some information on SSP and RAP?
SSP. Okay. So RAP means representative agriculture pathways, and SSP means socio-economic assessment. SSP, shared socio-economic pathways. SSP. So yes, there are several SSPs are there. If you see the AR6, everybody is talking about SSPs. SSP 1.2 like that there are. So we have used different SSPs. So some SSP is saying about how the future is going to be. Some SSP they're saying population will be more, income will be more, like that. They already have a. I think you can just simply Google it and see different SSPs having different systems. So we are used. There are 2 SSPs we are used. So based on that, using that data only, we simulated. So that is called shared socio-economic pathways, SSP, right?
Good afternoon, sir. So my name is Maniyandan. I am doing first PhD in Agriculture and Meteorology department, sir. So my question is, nowadays we are seeing extreme weather events.
Sorry, what is it?
Extreme weather events, sir.
Ah.
So just I am asking, actually we are putting our projected climate change data in model, and we are projecting the yield variation when compared to base year. So in the case, how to study this extreme? For example, one day highest rainfall, 100 millimeter. So whether these models already they are having separate module for study this type of extreme weather events, or is there or not?
Yeah. So see, models having different modules. See that you have to do a model improvement. See, they have developed and given to you. Suppose, for example, you can do some simulation runs, saying that you can yourself make 100 mm in one day and followed by 0 and again 200 mm and run the model. But all the models are not equipped to do this kind of thing. So for that, what we need is model improvement. See, like model, now what we are doing right now is you are using the model. Now we can do a model improvement if it's not simulating properly. Some modules, they will provide you the source code. If you have a sufficient data, we can do a model improvement. Suppose, for example, in ICRISAT, what we have done a parallel millet model improvement. So for that, parallel millet tillering is not simulated properly by the model. So we have a lot of data available with us. So we change the modules, and now we feel that the model is predicting properly. Like that, if you have a sufficient data, suppose, for example, you have done a field experiment where you subjected somehow, say, high rainfall, or maybe submergence for 10 days in rice. So you have a data. Now use that data and do a model improvement, and other people can use. So now these all models are open source.
Okay.
So you can, if you have a very good quality data, you can do a lot of adjustment in the model and then run the better simulation.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, but right now, not many models like water logging, somewhat simulated, okay, by maize model, but heavy rainfall event like hailstorms, there no model is having the capacity to simulate.
Okay. Thanks.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you for a nice presentation. Already we have worked together, so all of the things I have already known. Sir? Yeah. Sir, okay, I am Bhuvanesh Very